You're this perp back with another video, and I just got out of watching Smile. Now, this movie hasn't come out yet, so I will not be putting any spoilers in this review. So no worries, don't worry, you know what I'm saying? I will just talk about just my initial thoughts about this film before and now after. And I gotta say, man, this movie definitely shocked me because I will say the first time I saw this trailer, I was like, oh man, this looks like some shit that Blumhouse would put out, or, you know, it looks very generic. It looks like one of those, you know, throwaway horror movies. Like, what is this shit about? Like, you know, whoever smiles like gets killed. You know, it kind of felt like your stereotypical generic type of horror movie going into this. But the more it got closer to the release date, and now I got to see this early, it's really dope that they put this out a few days before it releases this weekend. So getting to kind of see this in a packed theater definitely was an experience, man. And this was a fascinating movie because everything you kind of see in the trailer is a lot of what happens in the beginning of the movie. It immediately kind of just gets right into the shits. Like, as soon as you see that one scene with the chick Laura, or I think that's her name is Laura, that's when things kicked off. But let me back up real quick because this is starring Sosie Bacon. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She plays Dr. Rose Cotter. She's pretty much like a therapist, which was a really brilliant way of kind of playing around with the psychological aspects of this movie. Her being this like psychiatrist or whatever you want to call her at this hospital, and then she gets one of these patients that just comes in and starts describing this whole scenario where, you know, she feels like her life's in imminent danger, that she's going to die, and it's this thing that's smiling at her that is like following her, which a lot of this movie reminds me a lot of It Follows, but for like a kind of new generation or a new type of kind of premise, using that same kind of premise but just minus one key difference. If you've seen It Follows, you probably can kind of get where I'm coming from, but it's this thing that you don't know where it comes from. It comes out of nowhere. It can kind of mask itself to be whoever it wants you to see it to be, you know, if that makes sense. It's really eerie, bro. They don't play around. Like, the pacing, I don't know how long this was. This felt like an hour and 30 or 40 minutes, but they immediately kind of get right into it, and I can really appreciate that. There are some genuine scary ass moments in this movie. I won't reveal that. The ending is very fascinating to me because, like I said, going into this, I thought this was going to be like one of those generic kind of horror movies, but I was still excited to see it. So after watching it, it's just like, man, the performance of Sosie Bacon as just Rose was phenomenal, kind of just tapping into why she got into becoming a psychiatrist because of things in her past with her mom and stuff like that, and how this thing really messes with people. It messes with your mind to even where it really affects things in Rose's personal life with her fiance and also her sister and stuff like that. That birthday party scene was crazy, bro. I think that was one of my favorite scenes. It does kind of get wacky at certain parts. I could definitely see some people kind of like laughing or giggling, but I think it's very effective as a horror movie as a whole. Just the psychological aspect of it and just building up tension with each scene, and it doesn't really give you a moment to really like chill out or give you a moment to kind of slow down, because at any moment you don't know what's real or what's fake. And I think that's what's really dope about this movie as a whole, and what I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy about this movie, because yes, it's a very basic type of movie. If you've seen It Follows, it kind of is reminiscent of that, so you can kind of see where it's gonna go. But man, it's very unpredictable with this creature, whatever it is, and I think it lends itself enough room to kind of build on another movie if they were to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I really like the acting for the most part, except for Rose's fiance. I forget who that is. It looked like the dude from The Boys or some shit. The dude that plays A-Train. I could be wrong. That's just the first thing that kind of popped in my head. But he was terrible. That's the only negative I have about that. Like, you could have done with that whole fiance aspect. You were better off just having Rose by herself. I definitely think that some aspects I think could have been done better, or just I don't know. It's a little nitpicky. Without it would be kind of like a spoiler, but I'm not going to go into any spoilers in this review, like I said. But I would definitely recommend checking this out on the Thursday that opens, or just anytime this weekend. Definitely go with a friend or go with your loved one. I think you're gonna have a really fun time at the theaters watching this movie, because I definitely did. It had me on the edge of my seat, because, like I said, the unpredictable nature of whatever this thing is what kind of keeps you in suspense and keeps you kind of glued to the screen. And I thought it was a really dope experience. So definitely let me know how you guys felt about this movie, if you got around to seeing it this weekend, or whenever you get around to seeing it, because I think this was really dope. And horror has just been really killing it. It's been on a roll. You know, you got Barbarian earlier this month, then you got Pearl, and I'm gonna see fucking Terrifier 2 next week, and I can't wait. Be on the lookout for that review as well. But man, I'm gonna go home and try to sleep, because like this movie's kind of like messing with me right now. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely, I had a fun time, man. It was just a good time. But until next time, I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.